So this one is here just to give you an idea of some of the foods that are going to be in this one shelf, okay? Some of the more traditional ones, there's the corn flour, so white and flint, and just like you're storing them up there, those are the best storage containers for them. Nuts, you can do any ground up hickory, walnut, any corn, any of that stuff. And whole wheat flour is a good one to go in there too because it's a nice thickener and it can go anywhere. Yeah. So skim milk powder is also good to have. Yeah. You have a lot of people in the house. Some days the milk's gone, but it's easy enough to just mix that up and then you'll actually, it's a high protein. You could put it in your shakes as well. Maple syrup. Dried peas, any of the split peas or yellow peas. What do you typically grow in the back?
In the garden?
Yeah.
Split peas.
Split peas? Okay, so that would be perfect just to dry them out, jar them up, or bag them even if you want to Ziploc bag them and throw them in here so that there's always a space for them.
Okay.
And even if you kind of label these, get the kids to do that too. Okay. It just keeps it organized. Different lentils, green and yellow.
Yep.
Very, very cheap. You can buy them in a big bulk as well. Dry beans, cranberry, bush beans, those are all, do you grow those as well?
Yep.
Yeah, so those will, perfect. So dried corn, flint white, and the popcorns. Again, storing them in the jars. Any dried mushrooms? Yeah, so do you have any that kind of grow around here that you know of?
No. Back in the bush, yeah, but not in here.
So if you want to go out and you're looking for it this year, it'd be great if you could dry them up. But you'd put them in the stove to dry them out quick, right? You just have to remove the water out of it so that
we have a
the bacteria.
Too.
Perfect. So that'd be a great way to do it. And those ones ideally stored in either like a basket or in a brown paper bag.
Yeah.
No plastic for those. You've got dried berries, any of the blueberries. Ideally, if you could dry it out, sumac too, because those are really. Do you do sumac? If you do up the sumac, it's something you can use either as a quick drink with a lemonade and a maple syrup, or you could just dry it up and you could add it to, it goes really nice with different meats. And it gives it like a tangy kind of flavor. Thimbleberries, dried herbs and greens, obviously a great space. You could even keep one shelf with just some push pins in here where you could just dry them up. If it doesn't get too moist in here.
You usually hang them from that thing.
From there first? Yeah. So, and then, so like mint, stinging nettle, some plantain, the mayapple. Roots and tubers, like Jerusalem artichokes, obviously after the sunflowers come out. And then just your typical ones that you would easily get on the grocery store shelf. Macaroni and pastas, whole grains, just load them up in here. The kids can easily grab it when they know they're looking for their recipes. Different bouillon cubes you can use, but you guys were doing your own stocks and things like that.
Stock.
So obviously they'd be kept in the fridge once they're opened unless they're actually being sealed. And wild rice, any nut butters if you're doing those too. And all your cooking and mixing. So everything kind of that is dry and able to go into a lot of different recipes would ideally go into this shelf so that it's just in its own space and you know when it's empty that it needs to be replenished. But it's pretty much the basis for a lot of different ideas and things that you can make. And then obviously you can add your own on here. Anytime you buy or get any canned items, make sure they're packed in either their own juice or they're packed in water. So I also did a storage chart for you. And that's for them to learn again what foods can go in the refrigerator and the freezer and for how long. Okay, and we'll put that up on this side so that they can easily know, well, if you put the date on it and it's in there, that they can know if it's been in there too long or not long enough. And sometimes that will happen, especially with you, because you're actually growing a lot of your own food and you have a bulk, you know, of items. So if they're sitting in there, they may sit in there for a long, long time. And then the vegetables. And again, it ties into the food safety and it also helps with the budgeting, right? If you know that these foods can always last in there, when you see it on sale, you can buy a whole bunch of it and know that it's going to last you that long, right?
There's
4 aspects to food safety. So the first one is clean, right? It's you clean yourself, you clean your area, and you make sure that the food that you're using is clean as well. So that's one of the first aspects. The second aspect to food safety is the separate. Now what do you think that means?
Make sure your food's not touching each other.
Keep food separate, especially keep meats separate from vegetables and fruits, right? So the third aspect is the cooking aspect. Now what do you think that means? Remember, we're talking food safety.
What happens if you eat raw poultry?
You'll probably get sick.
There, yeah. So we're talking about temperatures and we're talking about cooking. Okay. So yeah, you want a safe temperature for eating, absolutely. And it's just looking at, say you have some leftovers, you want to make sure that you're putting it into the fridge within 2 hours. Do you know why within 2 hours that it needs to go into the fridge?
No.
If you leave every 20 minutes, bacteria multiplies in huge numbers, like numbers you wouldn't even be able to think about. Think of ant colonies. That's how big in 20 minutes bacteria can grow and grow and grow. So if you leave food out longer than 2 hours, then you're growing a lot of beautiful bacteria, but you'll also be eating it. So we put it in the fridge, and when it goes into the fridge at a temperature of about 4 degrees Celsius or less, it actually slows the growth. It's like it's moving in slow motion now, and it can't grow as quickly. So that's why within 2 hours, the food that you make has to go into the fridge to make sure that it's safe.
Clean.
There we go. And the second one was
Temperature separation.
Yeah.
And refrigerating.
And yeah, chill, right? Perfect. So now you have an idea about what food safety looks like in the kitchen. You can go and share it with your friends now. It's always an exciting topic. Canada's First Nation Food Guide. And I use this guide as a dietitian because it does have a really nice foundation of foods that are required in order for our bodies to grow healthy. Okay, it doesn't necessarily represent the food that we would find here in our territory, but it does try to represent the idea of we have indigenous foods. But the general gist of this is that you need foods from all of these categories in order for every single function in your body to operate. And that's when I talk about a balanced meal, when we talk about that next, this is the idea that you're looking at to balance your meals out, to make sure that every time that you set up a meal and eat it, you're putting the best and most nutritious foods on your plate and into your body to feed it for health. Okay?